Welcome to a new episode of Depreciation Nation, and behind me you are going to see a 2014 Challenger RT. But before we get into that, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button at the bottom of your screen so that you don't miss more awesome content like this. Now, today's car comes courtesy to us of our friend Tania, and if you'll recall, we recently brought you the Hellraisin Scat Pack, and we've got a Hellcat on the way for you as well. But the reason that we continue to bring the Mopar cars is because prior to the market going volatile, the prices were dropped significantly enough that you could get big power at a very low price. Now, Tania tells us that she paid $17,000 for this car last year, and it had just a hair over 50,000 miles, which is a great way to get big power for little money. So, let's go over the car and see what we've got. Now, the Scat Pack that we brought you a few months back has 485 horsepower, and the Challenger RT is down just a hair on power, producing roughly 374 horsepower, which is still no slouch. 0 to 60 on this car is right around 5 seconds, and it's still got all of the big V8 rumbles. Interior is standard Dodge, very similar to the Scat Pack that we brought you, and all in all, it's not a bad place to be. So, let's go for a drive and see what we think. So here we are in Tania's 2014 Challenger RT, and the question that we are here to answer is, this is roughly 111 horsepower down on a Scat Pack, but it was also a fraction of the cost. So my question is this just as much fun? Now, my apologies, there's a little bit of movement on the camera. We are filming in Ohio and it is a little cool today, so suspension components are a little firmer than they usually are, and we are on Midwest roads, which, without saying, are not quite as smooth as the roads we have in Georgia. Scat Pack we tested was 52,000. The Hellcat Challenger that we have yet to bring you was 70,000, and keep in mind, Tania paid 17,000 for this car right here. Now it pops between the shifts just like the Scat Pack or the Hellcat. And it has similar amenities. We still have cup holders. With the wrap and the badges removed, honestly, the only giveaway that this isn't one of the more performance-oriented models, if you can even use more in that term, is that it doesn't have as fat of a tire hanging out back. Now, while it is 111 horsepower down on a Scat Pack, it still makes 347 horsepower, which is still significant. It rides just like the other cars. And it sounds just like the other cars, minus the supercharger whine of the Hellcat. It's loud, it's obnoxious, just like every other Mopar that we have brought to you. This car is not trying to hide its size, and we do feel the weight and the mass of the car. Now, we don't have the power bulge of the Scat Pack, we don't have the power bulge of the Hellcat. We just have a nice long flat hood to look over, and that's okay. Now, we continue to try to bring cars that depreciation has affected nicely, and this certainly is one of those cars. This car is fitted with a leather interior. It's also worth noting, as Tania told us, that this is a 100th anniversary Dodge, and there were fewer than 2,000 of these made at the time this car was produced. Only modifications to it are that wrap, which honestly it looks stunning with that wrap. And otherwise, we are driving a bone stock car. And bone stock, the car currently has 68,000 miles on it. It still rides like it did when it was new. It doesn't have any major rattles. All of the interior pieces still look very good. And the seats are comfortable. The seats have a bit of a different design than what we have experienced in the Hellcat or the scatpack, but they're still very nice and very supportive, and I might like them a little bit better. Now, my son has been with me on a lot of these videos, even though you haven't seen him in the frame, but he likes these seats in the Mopars because, as he said, they feel like giant recliners. These seats honestly are a little more supportive, and I might like that better. And so I guess the question is, can I justify the price of a scatpack or a hellcat? And I am not going to minimize those cars in any way, shape, or form, because they are a lot of fun to drive. And with some of those higher prices, you of course get some aero and some additional wide body features. You've got a more aggressive hood, a more aggressive splitter. The exhaust pipes are a little bit more aggressive looking from the back of the car. But with the savings, keep in mind $17,000 versus $52,000. I am sure that I could build a heck of a car for that price differential. I believe that's Tania's intent eventually, is to build this, and it will be very interesting to see where she ends up. Car makes all the same sounds, and even though it is down on power over the other two cars, I'm not sure I can really tell. Power comes on a little bit more dramatically, but it feels just as fast as the other two cars. And so the question is, do the scatpack and hellcat performance, are they significant enough to generate that kind of a price differential? Based purely on budget and based purely on fun, I'm having just as much fun in this car at a quarter of the price. And all of the right noises are there, and the transmission shifts just like it does in the more sporting versions of it. But based on this experience, this might be one of the best performance values on the market. Again, prices are a little volatile right now, basically due to the fact that dealers can't get new cars, and that's causing issues when they rely on trade-ins, so people aren't trading in their current cars, and that has somewhat frozen the inventory levels. But when the market stabilizes, and it will, prices on these will come right back down. And so this is a 2014, so this is a 7-year-old car, which is still relatively new by today's standards. And not down on performance in any way, shape, or form. And that is the 2014 Challenger RT. We found it to be every bit as exciting as we anticipated. Not too much of a difference over the experience that the scatpack offers, and just as comfortable as we anticipated this being. Now, it's worth mentioning that I might enjoy this just a tiny bit more than the scatpack because the power is more usable due to that horsepower differential. And we want to thank Tania for loaning us this car for this video. So, thank you for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button at the bottom of your screen. We do have a Hellcat on the way in a few weeks, and we'll talk to you soon.